Thanks for joining this Asperas webinar. If you can hear me okay, can you just type it in the chat box, please, just to make sure? Cool, thank you. Good morning, all. Thank you for joining this webinar on IBM Asparant Cloud. My name is Prasad Mucharla, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar. I run the IBM business in Ingram Micro, and with a dedicated team who will work with our partners to provide the best solutions to their customers using IBM technology. We have a great agenda lined up for you today. Yep. We have a great agenda lined up for you today that will showcase the high-speed transfer capabilities in Aspera that will let you provide solutions to your customers' employees that will greatly improve data transfer rates, and of course with a high customer satisfaction, right? In terms of, we have got a great cloud strategy in IBM, and the IBM Aspera solution will really enable your hybrid cloud solutions to be taken further, and also provide a great backup and restore facility as well. And this webinar will provide you with a fair bit of information for you to take IBM Aspera to market with your customers. To set the scene as to why Aspera is so important, is I thought I'd put up this particular report from Gartner in terms of the 4 trends that will impact cloud adoption in the next 3 years or next 4 years here, right? Hybrid cloud is pretty much a buzzword today. A lot of people talk about it, and it's about the private versus public cloud integration, right? And that trend is really going to take off in the next 4 years, and that requires a very high-speed data transfer capability between your private cloud infrastructure to the public cloud as people start to move workloads away. Now, there is a fair bit of prereqs required in a hybrid cloud situation where skills are required, there's innovative solutions, there's scalability requirements, etc. But the one on the right-hand side is more of a reality these days, right? The multi-cloud capability, right? Nobody wants to get locked into a single vendor in terms of a single cloud, right? We know the risks that are associated with a single cloud. And the vendor lock-in that provides the greatest amount of risk. If your public cloud infrastructure were to go down, then you're pretty much, your business comes to a grinding halt, right? So what do you do there? You need to be able to shift your workloads pretty rapidly from one cloud to the other, so that you keep your business continuity. And that's where the service disruption gets minimized. Then cost optimization on the left-hand side is always been the case. Organizations will continue to drive down costs, right, in terms of moving your workloads away from traditional data center infrastructure to cloud, right? And the focus will pretty much be on to be as cost effective as possible. Now, again, there in terms of when you start moving data around, again, there's large amounts of data that will be moved between your data center infrastructure and public cloud as well. And then the new thing that's coming up, or it's already come upon us, is distributed cloud. Let's make things more complex, right? You want to get the workloads close to the edge. So let's say you want to have these pop-up clouds for sporting events or music concerts where you want to really give out tickets very quickly and have that site shut down as soon as you have sold out the stadium, right? So you want that cloud to be come up quickly, closer to the edge, closer to where the users are sitting to get the maximum latency with the best possible latency, right? And that's another area where there's a fair bit of focus coming in. And all of these are going to impact the cloud adoption scenarios for the next 2 to 3 years, right? And what happens then? Why is it relevant to IBM Aspera? Aspera is a capability that allows you to move data rapidly, right? And any of the situations that are there on the screen will require your data transfer rates to be really very good, right? Now, so that's exactly what this slide talks through, right? In a hybrid cloud, you basically want to move data or workload to where it's required. There's a lot of DevOps going on, right? You want to be able to really get to that workload pretty quickly and make sure that it has the data capability, right? Same with multi-cloud, as I spoke to you before, is the rapid data transfer rates. And above all that, the key point is security. And the speakers after me will show you some of the features that Aspira provides in terms of all of these things that are there on this slide, right? And any of these, so the bandwidth that's available, right? Cost optimization I spoke about earlier. You're not going to get a lot more bandwidth, right? So yeah, you can start to buy more speeds and buy more, you know, with your telco provider. But at what point are you going to say enough's enough, right? So you got to do a lot with the bandwidth that's already available. So that's where Aspira fits in. So again, with distributed cloud, same thing. Now you got to move the data rapidly to the edge as quickly as possible, right? So all of this really fits in to what we're going to talk about today in terms of Aspira. So just wanted to go through a couple of things on why Ingram, right? We are the foremost distributor for IT hardware and software in the world. We've got about 200 vendors. We have a very good cloud ecosystem with an end-to-end e-commerce platform where the process of buying or acquiring technology at a very quick pace is facilitated with this platform. We have an ISV track. So those of you who are attending today are an ISV, please reach out to us. We can show you how you can go to market with Ingram, right? We also have startup competitions, etc. As I said, a large dedicated team. And our tech team will make sure that you have the best possible configurations, best possible bill of materials, etc. That actually the solution is tried and tested for you to take to market. The contacts are there on the slide. You will get a copy of this after the webinar, and you can reach out to us, right? So before I move on further and introduce the speakers, I just want to basically have ask a poll question here, right? The first one, let me just. Can you sit home? So the first poll question is, do your customers request high-speed file transfer capability during this COVID-19 situation? I know it's changed a lot of situations in terms of working for us. The poll question should appear on your screen. If you can answer yes or no in terms of whether your customers are requesting a high-speed file capability. Yeah. Give me a sec, I can. Okay, cool. So 92% have said yes. So your customers are asking for a high-speed file transfer capability. One more question before we move on, right? Do your customers now ask for a reliable file transfer capability for large file sizes greater than 1 gig? And I think reliability is the key here. So you can answer yes or no, that'll be great. Okay, so we got the first question now in terms of if your customers are requesting high-speed capability in terms of high-speed file transfer, we got a resounding 92% as yes, right? So why aren't we surprised, right? So with all that COVID has cast upon us, I think it's very important to have that sort of capability. In terms of second one, in terms of reliability, in terms of your customers ask for a reliable file transfer capability for large file sizes, we got a 75% yes. So I think the majority of your customers are asking for these features, and it's great that we have got this webinar lined up, and you'll hear some of the excellent features that Aspira provides. So with that, I will move on and introduce our next speaker. We have Jason Foss from IBM in the United States. He's a worldwide go-to-market leader for Aspira, and he will take us through what Aspira means, how best to use it, the use cases, how do you look for customer scenarios, and how this will be most helpful in the way you can offer this facility and capabilities to your clients. After Jason, we'll have Jay Morgan, who's a technical specialist for Aspira. He's also based in the US. And he'll take you through a brief demo of the solution, a quick overview of the features, and most importantly, how easy it is to get this deployed with your customers. So with that, let me hand over to Jason to take you through. Thank you very much.
All right, can everyone hear me okay? Perfect. Okay.
Yes.
So as said before, my name is Jason Foss and handle the go-to-market worldwide for Aspera. So, really just kind of run you through a couple different scenarios and/or, I think important points that I think will help you identify deals as much as relate to your customers. So, really some of the things we try to highlight are, we want to move data at high speeds. So basically what we're saying is, you have a certain network speed that these companies are using, and it could be from home, from the office, from data centers, wherever, and we want to maximize that. So everyone's been in a scenario where you're trying to do something at home, a bunch of people are doing different tasks. Well, it'd be great if you could somehow have your process identify when the network is busy and when it isn't, and automatically speed up or slow down these transfers to make sure you're getting the most optimization out of what you're doing. And so the valuable points for your customer are really when we talk about why Aspera is talking about the size of files, the distance they're going, or the network conditions. So when we talk about that, the size of a file, think about sending someone an email and that email can't go through because the size of the file is too big. Great, we have a solution for that. The distance, so when you start sending files from Australia to the US, that distance will actually cause a certain amount of latency and time for that file to go. So that's another scenario we can help with, or just network conditions. Is someone in a remote area and their connection isn't as good? Could be a cell phone, could be something else. All three of those would be identifiers when people are talking to you that you would be able to say, hey, we have a solution for you. So with that being said, here's kind of the examples to go through. If you look at this chart here in the lower right, it's basically saying, hey, with some transport methods, other file transfer solutions, it could take you anywhere from 10 to 20 hours to send a certain file. And it would be great if you could have a solution that actually gave you a specific time frame based on the size of the file. So the best example I have here is, think about if you were going to board a plane to get to a specific place. It's great to know when that plane's going to take off, how long that flight's going to be, and where it's going to land. You want to plan all these things around it to make sure it happens. So now when people start talking about backup windows, they start talking about all these other scenarios of which they're moving files and need to accommodate for certain times or distances or anything like that. We've now got that all considered. So now that we can give you something that's predictive and reliable, that really fits all these scenarios. So in most scenarios, we can say, we're going to improve the speed that you're already transferring these files. We now don't have a concern about, hey, whether you're sending a million little files or one large one. And then we're going to be able to take advantage of that bandwidth during the busy times and the down times. So really just trying to touch on all those topics for your customers. So what we try not to do when we talk about all these solutions is we don't really say we have a solution for media entertainment We have one for industries or like retail and commercial and all that. We really try to put it as, hey, we've got these 5 different use cases and we've got products that can support those. So, you're going to have customers that talk about upload and ingest. So how quickly can I get a file, and how quickly can we get that, out to the public? So you'll see we start with upload and ingest and instantly go to distribute. So you've got one file to get to many. Marketing campaigns, could be sales forms, anything like that. And then the traditional example would be the share and exchange. So I need to work with a variety of teams. I'm working at home. How quickly can I get this document in, get someone else to look at it, and get their version back? And then we've got options like the replicate and sync. So, being able to have that one image go out to multiple locations and vice versa. So it could be a news broadcast, could be a variety of different information in the way it gets there. And then streaming and high video. So really looking at, is it a policeman's webcam? Is it a drone? Is it the Super Bowl? Any of these informations that you would have doing it. And it could be as small as someone's putting on a concert and they just want to go out to a web page and want a lot of people to view it. So it's interesting that when we look at these use cases, it can be done for a 5-person company and can be done for 5 million viewers. It really just is one of those solutions that's scalable. So I think as we kind of go through this, what we try to do is, we're going to focus on Asparant Cloud, which is our SaaS products. But what we try to do is make this easy for sales folks in the sense that, we're going to say if someone mentions, centralized administration, certain products do it. If we talk about transfer and distribution, we've got 2 different options for you, or synchronization or automation, and then working with sharing collaboration. So what we really try to do is put something in front of you that says, hey, my customers are talking about one of these 5 things. Well, great, we have a product to match that. So I think we just try to really simplify customers' needs down to these products. So the one we're going to talk about today is the Asparant Cloud, which is our SaaS product. So the ease of this would be is that it's hosted on our end from IBM, and you're able to log into just a simple web browser. And whether you have items that are stored out there on premise or in a variety of different clouds, you're able to have those all be in one view. So just think of it as, you may be looking at, all your finances, and you may have them in different banks, different credit cards, things like that. It's all one collective view. So for your users, once you set all this up, it's really unique to say, great, I have some files on site and I need to get them to Amazon. It's as easy as a click and drag to be able to get data from point A to point B. So I think that's important to show, we're really vendor agnostic in that point of view and able to kind of really adapt to the situations that your customers have. So I think, looking at that, when we kind of say customers like, great, you have a SaaS solution, what other things would you be able to do? And it really goes back to that fundamental statement of moving those files. So just think of it, you could have a whole, database of files that you need to move, or it could be as simple as, hey, we've got this one project we need to get from point A to point B. And then being able to do that collaboration. So we've got things in the product called Workspaces that you're able to kind of say, all right, here's a marketing team, here's a finance team, here's a sales team, and they may each want to have their own view and share among those groups, but all that data doesn't necessarily need to be available for everyone. So really being able to say, hey, let's take all this different data and let's file it and kind of filter it in different ways to make it beneficial to those groups. And then, the biggest thing would be is, we can build it into other things. So it could be that you have a solution and it just doesn't transfer files the way you want. Great, let's use all of our, kind of API and code on the back end to basically do the same things of sending files, uploading, reporting. So it could be as simple as you go out to someone's website and when you click on a button, it's actually Aspera on the back end sending that file. So we've got a variety of information around kind of all our API documentation and all that, but just know that it's readily available. If someone says, great, all this sounds good to me, but I want to build it into something I already have, I don't need a new interface for people to learn and go through. So that's, there as well. And then, we've got some other things that have just kind of surfaced, that's important to talk about. So one is, forensic watermarking and talking about that. So it's really important to know that, when you send documents, you've got that level of security. And to take it one step further, we've partnered with our Ditto to be able to watermark a document So you would know if it got leaked, it's a specific, for a brand new device coming out. For something else, you would know that this is a legitimate document, hasn't been shared, or the path that that took to get from point A to point B. So it just is an extra security method on top of that we allow in the product as an additional feature. And so, I think it's important to talk about, what the product does. Now let's take a couple examples of, what we're looking at. So, I think on any broadcasting event. So, it used to be that there was a van that sat outside of the stadium and it would, work to get that satellite dish to get a feed from point A to point B. Now, to tell someone that we could do remote editing. So whether that's as simple as a concert, could be, any type of event that people need to stream, even as simple as, like American Idol and shows like that had to go remote. They've got to get all those different, performances from each individual person back and then create a show out of it. So it's very, like I said, it works from a variety of scaling, but it's important to know that, whether you were watching the World Cup or you do, a smaller TV show, it would basically support all those from a certain point of view of moving files around. And then looking at another example of like tailor-made. So, they came to us with a concern of kind of getting all their data into the cloud. They needed to make sure that, the staff working from home was able to accomplish this in a couple days, and really being able to do all that, within 2 days and transition this entire team was really important. So I think that's one thing, when you start talking about these products, setup is really as fast as, you guys have the resources on your end from a customer point of view in order to get that squared away. And then we move into, like cinemas and things like that. So, being able to kind of have a cloud-based solution that would be able to get, all this different video from point A to point B. You've got to think when all these cinemas, started out, they were basically FedExing materials all over. So now they're at a point that, one place can get the film and send it to many in a very short time frame. So now they've got, a variety of features that they're able to accomplish, through this method. And then, we've got a trial. So I think this is important as well. It's something that, we provide and we can get out to customers so that they can actually get their hands on it. And I think, we can talk as much as we want about speeds and feeds and use, but to actually get a customer sign up for it and show them the ease of doing things, and that we have built-in training in it, it makes it so much easier than the old days of one person had to learn it and teach many. Well, now it's built into the product. So if you actually use the features and you say you want to send a file, it's going to actually move your screen and show you the buttons to click. So by the time you're done, you've actually accomplished that task. So I think that's really important to understand. So that was kind of, getting through my information kind of straightforward. I try to get through it to a point of view just so you kind of get a couple highlights of, the size of the file, the network speeds, making sure you understand what use cases we can talk to customers about. But really the important kind of bread and butter here is to see the product. So let me pass this over to Jay Morgan to do the demo, and then hopefully this will make a little more sense for you. So I will pass this to Jay. And we should be good.
Okay. So just to show you, we've got a lot of different functionality that you can do with Aspera. We're just showing a small portion of it today, and it's all going to be within Aspera on Cloud. So I've logged into Aspera on Cloud here. I am an administrator, so I do have the access to the admin application. I also have an automation application, activity application, packages application, and the files application. So I'm going to be going in depth fairly well on the files and the packages applications, showing a little bit about the activity and automation, but not going into depth there. But that just gives you an idea of what we're going to be doing here. I'm not going to be touching on the admin today. So first things first, let's go ahead and go into the files application. And as Jason mentioned earlier, you have the ability to have multiple workspaces within Aspera on Cloud. So the user that I'm logged in here as right now has access to 5 different workspaces. Overall, there's probably 20 different workspaces that are part of this instance of Aspera on Cloud. but I've only been given access to 5 of them. I'm going to be working primarily here in the Show 2020 workspace. And in here, we've got a whole bunch of shared folders. You'll notice that the names of many of the shared folders have locations. For example, AWS Frankfurt, Azure North Europe, Google US Central, IBM Cloud Object Storage Dallas. All of these locations, all of these shared folders are in the location that it specifically talks about. For example, AWS Frankfurt, I click into there. All of the files you're looking at here are actually in S3 in AWS in Frankfurt, Germany. And so I'm just going to show a couple of examples of ways that you can use this. Number one, if I need to download a file, one of the things I'm going to do here is make sure that I don't have the file already locally. No, I don't. I'm going to go ahead and download a 1 gig file. You may say, oh, this is going to take a while. Well, unless something has gone wrong, it shouldn't take long at all. It will initiate the connection. Remember, this is going from in Frankfurt, Germany to Atlanta, Georgia in the US. I'm transferring down at close to 500 megabits per second. And in just a few moments, it's going to be done. There we go. I click on View Source. It opens up my Finder window, and there's that 1 gig file that I just downloaded. It took me maybe 10, 15 seconds. So let's go ahead and move that to the trash so I don't forget it later. And so that's being able to download from the Files application. Similarly, I can also click on Upload to upload files. And I'm just going to grab, let's say, my upload speed can be a little bit slower sometimes. I'm going to go ahead and select a 100 meg file. Click on Open. Oh, it's like I've already got a 100 meg file there. It completed because it was already there. Let me go ahead and delete that file. And we'll do another upload. And select the 100 meg file, click Open. There it's initiating. And very quickly that 100 meg file is complete. And you see it right there. Now let me go ahead and clear all these transfers out. And so that just shows you how easy it is to upload and download to the Files application. Now, another cool feature here. If I click on a split screen icon up here, I'll look here and I can see all the other shared folders that I saw earlier. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Google US Central. So the left side, I've got AWS Frankfurt. On the right side, I've got Google US Central. I'm going to grab this file here. If we take a look here and just do info on it, that's a 3 gig file. I'm going to just click and drag that file over to the Google US Central. It will initiate a node-to-node transfer from AWS Frankfurt into the Google US Central. And looks like it completed already. I tested this earlier. Let's see here. Reload my page. The wonders of demos. It's not showing for some reason. I'm wondering if I may have actually dragged it into a subfolder. Let me just grab this one gig file here, and I'll go ahead and initiate that copy there. It will initiate. It's transferring at about 1.5 gigabits per second to the other side. And it's only taken a few moments here. And as you can see, it adjusts according to the actual available bandwidth. And close that. And there we see the 1 gig file. So I'll go ahead and delete that. So that just shows you how you can directly transfer from one cloud environment in AWS Frankfurt to another one. It's Google Cloud in US Central. So Frankfurt to the US very quickly. Next thing I'm going to show you is the packages application. This is the application that Jason talked about in regards to transferring data to an individual via email. So we go ahead and click on Send Files. I'm going to send to an external recipient. I'm going to say, let's see here. I'll show you a demo. I have the ability to either select files or I can do a drag and drop of files. I'm just going to go ahead and select files here. It brings up my Finder window, and I'm going to just grab a combination of files. Let's say maybe this bunch of files here. Select Open. Another cool thing that we can do here is I can actually click on Upload from Files, and it will actually go into the files application, and I can actually go to AWS Frankfurt and I can grab, let's say, this 100 meg file here, select that. That will be in the file list that will be uploaded. I can put an optional message in there. In addition to that, I can set up options. I can do a encryption at rest configuration where I put in a passphrase here. And in order for the person at the other end to decrypt the file, they have to be able to enter that passphrase. In addition to that, I can set up custom expirations. I can also do notifications of third parties when the file is available and when the package is downloaded. Putting a recipient in here does not give them access to the data. All it does is notify them when the package is available or when the package is downloaded by one of the recipients. So I selected the files, I've given a subject. I'm not going to do any special options here, but I'm just going to go ahead and click Send. Click on that. And it initiates sending the package. You'll see that there's actually two different transfers going on. One transfer is happening from the Frankfurt transfer server. The other one came from my desktop. And there we go. We just uploaded all those. At this point, the person would get an email on the other end, and the recipient would get an email. Let me go to my other email here. Check my email. There we go. And there we have an email that says, I received a package, Australia demo from Jay Morgan in the IBM Aspera Cloud Workspace Show 2020. I can just click on Open in IBM Aspera Cloud. And that person, due to the fact that we actually allow via policy for an external party to be able to receive that package and be able to get the packages without requiring authentication, it didn't require any authentication. But once again, that's a policy option. Now, in this case, now that I see these, I can select them all, or I can select an individual set of files, and then I just click on download, or I can click on download all. When I click on download there, it initiates the download. And there we go, it's already downloaded at that point. I click on view source. It brings up my Finder window, and there we go. We've got a 100 meg file. Go ahead and delete that. Now notice that that unauthenticated user, the one that we sent the email to, they do not have access to do anything except for receive that package. They can download those files. They're not able to send a package to anybody else. They're not able to get into the files application or anything else like that. They are very limited in what they're able to do. Now, let's move on to the next item here. Let's go back to the other browser window, and I'm going to send a link to the remote person. So I'm going to create a public link here. I'll set it to, let's say, expire in 24 hours, and I'm going to send it to a remote person. I can put in an optional message. Click on send. Request is sent. At this point, I go back to my email. It may take a few moments. Oh, looks like it has arrived. There we go. And I see that J. Morgan invited you to send files using IBM Aspera on cloud. Use the following link to send the files. So I just click on that link. It will open up the browser. And basically, it gives them a simple interface to be able to send files to me. And so you can put in, now, in some of these things, you can actually set custom metadata such that you can have certain fields be required. For example, the subject is required. You can set a custom metadata for a lot of things. In this case, I'm just using the default. Could have an optional message. I could do the encryption at rest, and I could do an external notification. Being a third party, one that isn't part of the system, I can't set any custom expiration in that situation. So go ahead and click Add Files. It brings up my Finder window. I'm just going to grab just a small file here, click Open, and then I'll click on Send. It initiates the transfer. And it's complete. It's uploaded. And at this point, when I go to my email, or actually, I'm just going to go straight into the web interface where I'm actually logged in, and I'm going to go to my inbox, and here's the package that user sent to me, and I can download the files there just the same as they downloaded previously. And just to give you an idea of what it looks like, this is the email that I get. It said, you received the package. Here are some files from Aspera user, unverified, in the IBM Aspera on Cloud workspace. So that shows the packages application. Now I'm going to go through just a very brief overview of two more applications that are in here. Number one is the activity application. And this allows you to see transfer activity that has happened in the past. Right now, you can see over the last hour, you can see the transfers that I did recently. You can see the by workspace. You can see what kind of node activity happened. We have Google Cloud, AWS Frankfurt, and this is our built-in node that is used for example, for packages and things like that. And you can see the overall rates and things like that. You can see the actual transfers that happened. You can also click to view all of the transfers over that period of time. I'm not going to go into too much detail there, but let's just grab this here, and it can show you what happened in those situations. It doesn't allow you to upload or download the files, but it does show you what files were downloaded. In addition to that, I can actually do an export of this data and it'll export it to a CSV file. So you can use for other reporting and things like that. Let's go into volume usage. And this will show you what kind of volume, transfer volume that has happened over the last, in this case, the last 7 days. You can set, last month, this month, or set your own custom dates and things like that. And this is the amount of transfer volume that's happened. Today we've done, about 16 gigabytes uploaded and 19 gigabytes downloaded today. We've got more information in regards to workspace, node, and other usage, user usage, and things like that. In addition to that, we can look at what kind of file access has happened. Look at myself here. This shows the files that I have accessed over a period of time here, and I can export that report also. Another thing we can do is look at application events. We can look at what kind of events have transpired in the last hour. Sending packages, receiving packages. If I go down far enough, I can even see, I could probably even see logins, things like that. Mostly it's been just stuff that happened during this demo. I deleted files, and it shows who did it and when it happened, those types of things. So this is the activity application. And one last thing I want to look at is the automation application. It allows you to create workflows when, and there's a number of different triggers that you can trigger that workload on. So you click create. I'm not going to create a full workload workflow here. I'm just going to show you some of the options here. You can set on a variety of different triggers, whether it's manual, on a time schedule, maybe to happen once a day, once a week, something like that. And then there's also file add events, when a file is added to a folder. When you have a shared inbox, I didn't demo that, but basically you can set up shared inboxes such that a group of people get notified when files get sent into a shared inbox. And you can actually set it to do other things when things come into that shared inbox, or when a file or folder is deleted. Let's go ahead and just say file is added. You can select, actually let's change this to time schedule. Let's say tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. and you can set an ending date for it. Click on save, and then the action. You can do an additional transfer. You can send a package. You can call an external API for if you have some other type of other application that you want to initiate some kind of action. One example is the watermarking that Jason alluded to. Notification of people through email, setting custom variables, creating a folder, and we've also got some custom stuff with Telestream. So those are just giving you an idea of what you can do with these workflows. I'm not going to complete this. I just wanted to just give you just a little bit of a taste. At this point, I'm going to pass things back to Prasad and let him take over.
Thank you, Jay. That was incredible in terms of the demo that you showed. And for those of us like who are looking at this Aspera as a solution, it's kind of intrigued your interest. There's a 30-day free trial, by the way, now that IBM is offering at the moment. You can go in there, sign up, play with Aspera for about 30 days to make up your mind, to make up your customer's mind. So I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of that. The other thing is, just as Jason sent me the deck for this webinar this morning, right? It was roughly about 30 meg. I think probably I clicked on it and under 2 seconds, it was there on my laptop, right? So there's some proof for you guys. If you're looking for some use cases, there's one that I've seen this morning, right? So and let me just I've got a question for you and a competition, right? Basically, those of you who will answer in the chat box will win this cool Harley Davidson Lego kit. You can see my screen now, and the question as well. This is not for kids, by the way. You can see it's 16 plus anyway for this kit. But name 3 key selling points that you'll use with your customers to consider Aspira as the high-speed data transfer solution. So based on what you heard so far in this webinar, I'm sure there are key takeaways. And so, those, and we let the winner know via email, by the way, once all the answers are coming and collated. So if you can answer in the chat box, and the first one in will win, with the right answers, of course, will win this cool Lego kit that will be sent out, right? Okay, moving on. Any Q&As? I think that I'm seeing some of the questions come through in the chat, and we will address them as we go. So please do continue to type your questions into the chat window. When we take the questions, I wanted to quickly talk about the Harley Davidson campaign, right? For those who joined at the beginning of the webinar, you'd have seen a video we played in terms of the Harley Davidson live wire motorcycle. It's a cool thing, right? It's a cool motorcycle. We, Ingram Micro, are giving away a real bike this time to a partner who can achieve a minimum annual contract value of $80,000 in IBM Cloud. Right, so pretty much you got to transact through the IBM Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace between now and 4th March. And if we will decide the winner, of course, through the mechanisms that are available to us. But yeah, there's a chance for you to go in and sell IBM Cloud and win this cool motorcycle. The motorcycle basically is a testament to IBM Cloud. It's always connected to IBM Cloud. It uses a lot of features and applications within IBM Cloud for diagnostics, for maintenance and tips and etc. Right? So it is connected to the cloud at all times, and that is the one we're giving away. Right, and also there's as we end the year, there is a Christmas celebration with cash, of course. So there's an $80,000 cash giveaway that Ingram Micro will give on Christmas orders, and you can see IBM Cloud listed there on this particular slide. Aspira is part of the IBM Cloud. So guys, go forth and sell IBM Cloud, Aspira, of course, definitely, and you will be in the draw to win this as well. Now, in terms of the questions, right, I just wanted to make sure we address a couple of them that have come through, and I think the panelists will take them as we go. I think the first one is to you, Jay. I think it's what is the best way to calculate transfer volume and how that tallies up to your overall transfer commit? If you could take that question, please.
Yeah, so any transfers that happen into or out of the Aspera on cloud environment, whether it be the built-in node that comes with the subscription, or when you set up connection to a third-party cloud provider, any data transfer into or out of those environments get counted toward your subscription. So uploading a file into the environment, downloading a file from the environment, sending a package. When you send the package, you're uploading. When someone else receives the package, you're receiving. So in all those cases, you get charged for however much data is transferred, whether it's ingress or egress. So for example, if I upload a 1 gig file, I get charged for 1 gig out of my subscription. If I send a package to Prasad, when I send that package, if it's a 1 gig file, 1 gig gets charged against the subscription. When Prasad downloads it, 1 gig also gets taken out of the subscription. I hope that answers the question.
And just this is Jason, just to piggyback on Jay, I think the other way to kind of describe that would be is if you have the activity app, once you've activated that and kind of, turned it on and made sure, it's working to your ability, you can easily go in there and look at how many transactions were done this month, and it will separate downloaded and uploaded, and then it will show you the total number of transfers. So you'll easily be able to see a graph chart that will just show the amount of data uploaded, the amount of data downloaded, and then be able to look at the total transfers. So as Jay's talking about each individual transaction, great, let's go into that activity app and go look at our volume usage to see those specific stats.
Thank you, Jason.
Yep. Thank you. And Jason, this probably is in your bucket. In a typical work environment where there is no need for constant streaming, etc., what situation could I look for to recommend Aspira?
A variety. I think anytime someone is talking about, any type of migration, it could be working on something as simple as, we send files all the time, so you got to just, I guess it becomes very addictive for us at Aspera to look at solutions. Is it as simple as paying for a pack of gum at a gas station? Is it as simple as a bank transaction? Is it as simple as, your kids downloading a video game and they're complaining it's taking too long? All these things that are transferring data in anyone sees a delay or issue are great avenues to introduce, some type of expedited transfer.
Yeah. Agree. And also to add to that, backup and disaster recovery, those sorts of situations as well call for an Aspira in terms of high-speed transfers, right? So yeah, there are many situations you could recommend Aspira. And Jason, the other question that's come through as well is for a mid-market customer, is Aspira easy to implement, or do you require to add services on top of that?
So loaded question. It's as easy as the solution can be and as complicated as you need to be. So basically the best example would be if a customer came to you and said, I have something that I need to get done today, and I personally need to send a file to someone real quick. I mean, they could basically buy it from you, it can get provisioned, and they could be sending files all in a matter of minutes. As Jay kind of showed, if it's someone needs to send stuff from specific locations and do all this, it's really just as fast as they could do the setup of it. So, in a majority of cases, if you've got the right people, it's a matter of minutes, even in some of the complicated ones, to, a couple hours, depending on how complicated it is.
Yeah, and to add to that, if the use case is specific to Aspera on Cloud, if you actually go to the Aspera on Cloud sign-up page that was shown in the presentation, you can actually get yourself an evaluation within minutes, and it's very easy to set up and to use. Now, if you're doing stuff on-premise with some of our on-premise solutions and things like that that are outside of Aspera on Cloud, yes, they take a little bit more time to configure and set up. But AOC, it's extremely easy.
Yeah. Cool. So the next question I'll take that: what support options are available from IBM to sell Aspira effectively? One is I'll let Jason answer the IBM support question, but Ingram Micro definitely are here to support you into making sure that you can have the best possible solution using Aspira for your customers. As I said, we have a dedicated tech team that can help you choose the right vehicle, the right configuration. And also we work with you in terms of making sure that you're able to present to the customer. We also lean on IBM when required to make sure we want to go into a deep technical presentation or discussion with your customers. Definitely reach out to us. We can bring IBM to that party, right? And make sure that IBM is all there throughout the journey, especially when there are difficult situations in terms of where we need to implement the solution. Jason, is there anything else in terms of support from IBM?
I mean, I guess that's the easiest. It's just really, for us to support each individual partner is always, a little more complicated as our partner ecosystem grows. So we're really leaning on our VAS and distributors to kind of, educate them and make sure they're the first line of education But I would easily say, we've got people that know the product. I've got technical resources like Jay, all over the globe, and we've got people that specialize in certain products. So, let's reach out, and kind of see what the people on this call would be able to do for you. And then outside of that, we can definitely get some specialists. And we break it out kind of by account. So it's just a little more complicated sometimes to find the right person. But either way, we'll take the time to make sure we can, help you get that sale.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Jason. There's one more question on the chat window before we close. Who is Aspira's competition and what is the best selling point against them?
So the competition is kind of all over the place in the sense that, we've got some simple transfer solutions, people would think of right off the bat, could be a box, Dropbox, something like that. We've got people in the media entertainment scenario like a Signian or someone else. And then we've got, the big players like the Amazon and others that, would have solutions to help you onboard to their different clouds and things like that. But at the end of the day, the good and bad of Aspera is we really offer a solution that has everything. And what we notice with a lot of these other solutions is they may start out with one feature or function, and then they try to do all these different add-ons. So I would say the benefit of us is we really try to give that all-inclusive picture out of the gate. The negative is the customer might not need all those bells and whistles. So that's really kind of the benefit. It's just making sure, what features would help your customer. And if we can get 2 or 3 of those, usually you would see the, benefit from an ROI and price perspective.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason. There are no more questions. And guys, do stay in touch. If you have further questions after this webinar, please make sure you send them to us via email. I'm sure you will get a copy of this a link to download this copy of the presentation. But I hope you enjoyed learning about Aspira, and I want to thank the speakers, Jason and Jay, for joining us. And hopefully you got the information you want, and reach out to us if you need more information. Thank you.